Hi and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make these really delicious cakes. I will link the recipe for the choux pastry down in the description. I'm going to use some almond flour, coconut flour, psyllium husk, xanthan gum, water, butter, erythritol, salt, eggs, vanilla and baking powder. And I'm just starting with mixing all of the dry ingredients at first, and then I'll mix my wet ingredients afterwards. And into my pot I put in my water, my butter, some salt and the erythritol. And then I'm just going to heat it up until the butter melts. And I also put in my vanilla paste into this mixture. And now that the butter has melted, I'm going to put in my dry ingredients and I'm going to whisk it for about a minute or until it doesn't stick to the sides of the pot anymore. And now that it doesn't stick to the sides anymore, I'm transferring it into a cold bowl so it can come down in temperature a little before I put in the eggs. The temperature has to be about 50 degrees before I can put the eggs in. I'm using 5 small eggs to this double batch that I'm making, and I'm putting all of the eggs into a bowl before I'm going to use them, so it's a little easier. And the dough has cooled now, so I'm putting it into my mixer, and I'm just beating it for a few seconds before I start to put in the eggs. And I'm going to put in 1 egg at a time and beat it well in between. And when I put in the last egg, I'll beat it for about 2 minutes afterwards. And this is the texture and the color and so that you're looking for when the dough is finished. So when it's finished beating, I will let it sit on my counter for about 30 to 60 minutes for it to cool a little more before I'm going to bake it. It has to come down to about room temperature. And afterwards I will put it into my piping bag. I find that this is the easiest way to make them pretty uniform on the baking sheet. And as I mentioned, I'm making a double batch, and this first one I'm just piping out as little buns and baking them like this, and then the second batch I will make a little different. And because it's choux pastry and it's a little fragile, you cannot open the oven door while it's baking. So I'm baking one plate at a time, and for the first 15 minutes it has to be on a higher degree setting than the last 15 minutes, but it will all be in the recipe. And then the next batch I'm making like eclairs, and then I'm also making a few buns. And I feel that it has to bake for a few minutes less than the recipe tells you. As you can see, mine got a little dark even though I took them out before the time was up. And now I'm going to make the filling. I will put the ingredients in the description as well, because this is not a part of the recipe. I'm using mascarpone and some powdered erythritol. I just powdered it in my blender. And some liquid flavor. This is vanilla and sweetened, and some orange peel. That gives it a really nice taste when you're making something with the kind of a cream cheese. And then I'm just going to mix it a little. And it was a little thicker than I would like it to be, so I just put in a few tablespoons of cream, and maybe you want a little more or a little less. And then I took half of the mixture and put into a piping bag. And I cut open all of my little buns, and then I just filled them with the cream, and afterwards I just put the top on them. And into the rest of my mixture I put in 1 tablespoon of cacao powder and some more of these liquid drops. This is with the chocolate hazelnut flavor. And I also used a little more cream just to make it smoother. And then I piped this into my eclairs, so they got a chocolate filling instead of the vanilla filling. And I also wanted to put something nice on the top, so I'm melting some 85% dark chocolate and some butter. And I'm also going to put in some more of the flavored drops. Just use the vanilla flavor. They will also give it some sweetness. And I melted this in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and then I stirred it and melted it a little more. And then I'm also putting in some of my powdered erythritol, just to make it a little sweeter and a little thicker, because right now it's pretty runny. And if you just leave it on the countertop for about 5 minutes, it will also thicken up a little before using it. And now it's already thicker than it was before, so I'm just placing about 1 spoonful onto each of the buns and spreading it out. And then I will put on some hazelnut pieces for a little crunch and some garnish. And this is the finished result. In my double batch I got about 20 of the buns and eclairs all in all, and about half of them I put the filling in and the toppings, and they are really delicious and they doesn't taste keto at all, so you should really try them. This is the inside of one of the eclairs. So thank you for watching, and I hope you try this.